So how many copies of Home Alone do you have?
Cha-ching, cha-ching! Oh. Am I going too fast for you? Cha-ching!
Movie again. It's that time.
Yeah, but I'm excited for this one because Home Alone it's my number one favorite Christmas movie. I don't know how you
I feel the same way.
It's
definitely my favorite. I'd rather rewatch this one than anything else.
It's iconic, it's legendary, it's it's family friendly.
Music.
Yeah, and I mean this was it's directed by Chris Columbus. This was like his third film that he did, essentially his breakthrough.
Right.
It was released in November of 1990, and originally John Hughes was set to direct it, but he let Chris Columbus do it because originally Chris Columbus was supposed to do Christmas Vacation, but he didn't get along with Chevy Chase, as I mentioned last year in Christmas Vacation. And I mean, wow, this movie holds like the Guinness Book of World Records, I believe, for like one of the most highest grossing comedies.
I think it was comedies, It's like even a Christmas comedy, really.
And it just you have such an insane, eclectic ensemble cast. I mean, you have, the former child star, I guess I should say, Macaulay Culkin.
Right.
You have John Hurd, who's very underrated in my opinion as an actor, rest in peace. You have Catherine O'Hara.
Right, yeah.
Joe Pesci.
That's true, yep.
Daniel Stern. And then, of course, an honorable mention to, once again, rest in peace to John Candy.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. And then...
Yeah, the soundtrack was created by amazing, phenomenal composer John Williams.
I really like his
very
music.
well known for... First movie that comes to mind for me with him is Jurassic Park. And And then, of course, Hook. But, so basically, Home Alone is about a very, I would say, overprivileged, bratty kid.
The beginning is so funny. He was a bratty little kid.
Pretty bratty.
But
it's just, it's a story of, a movie about redemption, family, and kind of just overall, not realizing what you have until it's gone.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good way to put it.
Because, when Kevin, when he's, left behind, like, I feel like at first he's kind of surprised and puzzled. But then eventually he becomes a little bit more excited. But then as time goes on, he starts to miss his family more and more.
Well, that was
and they all start to miss him as well.
That was like his wish before, because he got in a big fight with his mom and his family blamed him for everything wrong. And he's like, I wish I never had a family. And then he wakes up without a family.
I know, Kevin in the beginning when he's having that argument with his family, he's acting like a blacked out, drunk adult.
I felt
when he's
bad
like, I don't want to see you again for the rest of my whole life. It's like, geez,
that was pretty harsh.
Kevin drank all the whiskey.
Literally though, everyone was pointing their finger at him. I felt so bad for him. I was like, oh.
I can relate. I can relate to Kevin. I mean, everyone loves to shit on my brother and I in our family. I didn't own this as a kid, but I actually owned Home Alone 2 as a kid when that came out. So I remember watching that probably a little bit more. And, I spent several sleepless nights debating which one's better, Home Alone 1 or 2,
That's the tough one.
Forget Socrates, forget Plato. Home Alone 1 or 2. That's just, there's three things in life. Life, Home Alone, and then Home Alone 2. But anyways,
better.
I think Home Alone 2 is great, but I love Home Alone, the first one.
The first one is probably the best.
It's just, the tone of it is just more classic, in my opinion, just overall.
Yeah, I think the second one has kind of a little bit better, I guess, like scenery and cinematography, because it actually expands a little bit outside the house, like in New York, and you see a little more expansive characters. I love the hotel scenes, and I love Tim Curry as a manager there, but you can't beat the first one. The first one.
Well, the thing is, like, with the overall mise-en-scene of Home Alone 1, I mean, it was filmed on location in Winnetka, Illinois, which is a suburb of Chicago.
Yeah.
So, like, the house, I mean, is obviously still very well known to this day. I mean, people are always, stopping by and, like visiting, getting pictures. And apparently, even more recently, the house has been converted to an Airbnb. Like, I just saw, like, this, like, news clip on YouTube recently where they talked about it.
I wonder how much it is in that. That'd be so much fun.
Most of what you see in the movie of the house is actually the house itself. I think the only thing that was like filmed on a soundstage, like, the interior of the house was like, I think a part of the kitchen and then like the attic.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
apparently. And I was just like, I noticed there's a lot of green and red.
I was going to say that too.
Yeah, that's like a very. I think they did that on purpose as a recurring.
They did, and I don't think I really caught. I just remember the bed, like his mom and dad's bed was like everything was red.
Red, yeah.
And then you start noticing that everything was all Christmas inside. Like it was interesting. It was kind of one of those little like behind the scene things you don't notice right away. But
watching it as an adult this time around, I really loved the wallpaper.
Yes, that's so true. It's so true.
And I wonder this too. Like, I just wonder, like, who did the interior design? Was it Kevin's mom, or did they hire an interior designer? Well, she seems like also the man of the house.
Yeah, I think she has input because if you notice, like, she has something to do with. They never talk about it, but she does something with fashion because he has all the mannequins and the.
I never even noticed that until watching it like recently.
Yeah, it's in the basement in her room.
The basement and then in her room. There's like a sewing machine.
Yeah, what is it, like a fashion designer kind of thing? So I bet she did a lot of it. I just remember the iconic chair too that Kevin like chills out in when he's watching the movie.
The red leather chair. Yeah.
So cool, fancy.
I know,
it was like
Kevin's
a little studio.
Sunday mode.
Yeah, so funny eating his ice cream. The movie and the house is so beautiful, and I remember watching
the house is just epic.
It's so nice, and I remember this one. I remember them saying like there's a reason why this is like our silver tuna or whatever it was. It's like the house that we want because it was like the best house in the world.
Oh yeah, he's like I think what's his face? We'll get more into Harry and Marv later, but so I want to do a little bit of a character introduction. So the first character that you're introduced to is Joe Pesci's character Harry, and then it goes to, what is it, like, it shows Kevin's parents in his room, and that's where, like, Kevin comes in.
Yeah, actually, that's true. Yeah, because she's trying to pack her stuff, and he comes in,
I just think it's funny how, like, Kevin's parents seem very adamant to get him out of there. Like, they're just like, Kevin, I'm on the phone, get out of here.
Yeah, it's like, come on. It's like they were just done with having kids or having... And you know what's funny is I just read this, too, that they never show Kevin's room.
Right, yeah.
They never show his room. He's home alone. He never goes to his own room.
They never show him in his room. And like, it's like, why didn't he just sleep in his room? I guess someone else was sleeping in his room.
I don't know.
All those people
it's so weird. That's so crazy. But yeah.
What's interesting about that house too is that house is like just on the cusp of being a mansion. It's not quite a mansion, but it's close enough.
I mean, I really wonder like how. And they have a basement and an attic.
Yeah.
He's like, I am upstairs, dummy. No, that upstairs is like.
Yeah, his mom should have just fucking bitch slapped him when he said that. That's so rude.
Such a little ass.
That would have happened if I would have said something like that to my mom. She would have so slapped me.
There were some definite moments there. And I feel like Kevin had a better relationship with the mom though overall than the dad. He kind of.
I feel like the dad like.
He kind of was dismissive in a way, like he was kind of like he's there, but.
Well, just like going back to what I was saying about that, like where it shows the scene of them in their room.
Yeah. His
parents seem like they're trying to get him out of there because it's like Kevin, get out of here. We're freebasing Vicodin because like. Because like when the dad comes downstairs after Joe Pesci's character is like impersonating like a police officer. When he's just like, am I under arrest or something? Just like, I think like he might have just gotten head from like the mom. And they were probably maybe they were doing drugs and like they're just so that he's just like, I'm so high off of being rich and fucking my wife.
What do you want? Yes.
Yeah, and I just think it's funny. He's like, no, it's Christmas time, so we're always going around the neighborhood to make sure people are taking the proper precautions. But I just think it'd be funny if like Harry was like, it's Christmas time, we're just making sure people are taking time off, they can make sure to bliss out properly. And he's like, oh yeah, well we got a 30 rack of PBR, we have a 3 grams of weed, nicotine pouches, a 6-pack of Dead Guy, bottle of Buffalo Trace. I mean that's about the best people can do nowadays, so right? Funny. I just think it's funny too how like the pizza delivery guy and Joe Pesci are just kind of like standing there.
They're
like,
just
what
hanging
the fuck's
out.
Going on?
What the frick? Yeah, it's so funny. Oh man, and then the iconic with like hitting the stone statue out front. I guess.
Oh yeah, I guess apparently it could be a drinking game. Apparently it gets hit 4 times.
Yeah, I think it's 4 times.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many drinking games too. Like every time you hear Kevin and see the tarantula, I don't know. There's just so many.
Or every time Kevin talks to himself.
Someone gets hurt.
Man, Kevin's got some problems.
That's so funny. There's people that don't realize that Joe Pesci in the beginning is like one of the Wet Bandits guys.
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys are stupid.
I know, it's like they don't even like ask, like, can we get some credentials from you?
Right,
like,
well, yeah, that whole thing's stupid. Yeah, that's stupid, the tooth, but I mean, obviously Kevin picks up on something, but... And then, like, the 2 little cousins that are just, like, staring at him, the little dorky ones. I just want to punch those kids, like... Where are your parents? They don't
know a lot of action going on here today, huh? Where are you
probably
going, kid?
like Benadrylled out. They probably like been.
Yeah, they're frying on all the Benadryl.
That little, what's his name, Fuller or something? That
that's actually Macaulay Culkin's brother, Kieran Culkin, who's a very fine actor. Yeah.
I don't think I ever realized that. That's so funny.
Yeah, he's. I remember seeing him. I used to watch this movie quite a bit called Igby Goes Down. Maybe we'll review that some other time. But
yeah, I didn't realize that was his brother.
But Macaulay Culkin in this movie, oh my god! we just have to talk about him for a second.
Talk about him.
First of all, his character is very precocious, which is very interesting, and I love it. And that's like what Joe Pesci described him as.
That's
like
good.
He felt that Macaulay Culkin wasn't a 9-year-old. He felt like he was like already an old man.
I love that. Very
which was funny because like
age, yeah.
when I was rewatching it this time around, I thought to myself like, man, I'm like he kind of reminds me of like someone in their early 30s trapped in a 9-year-old's body. Yeah. And apparently his stunt double was a 30-year-old man, like a very.
I just read that too.
Very
That's
short 30-year-old man.
So weird. I want to catch that. It's so fun. I don't know. It reminds me of Deep Roy, the little white wig, or blonde wig.
Yeah, like the.
No. But I mean, he's obviously not white. But anyways, yeah, that's funny. And then like I heard like even Joe Pesci would like not.
Yeah, he would
Macaulay,
avoid him. Yeah, because he wanted to maintain the character, like, being mean.
He's like, I just wanted to be, it's very interesting. But yeah, he would take like naps on the floor, and they had like, because the child labor laws, they couldn't work him too much.
Right, so they could only work him 5 hours at a time.
Yeah. Kind of like, I just love the whole like, I think he's great as a character, but it's like, where is he getting all this from? Like he watches that Angel, what's that Angel movie?
Oh yeah,
where's he getting this violence from?
Yeah, so what's interesting about the Angels with Dirty Souls is that it was just like, I remember seeing it as a kid and being like, oh, I'd like to see this movie one day, but apparently it's just a reference to an old movie called Angels with Dirty Faces starring James Cagney.
Oh, okay.
So it kind of referenced that.
But it's not anything that the actual scenes are made.
But those were just created for Home Alone.
Because I mean, they don't show blood, but that was always a pretty traumatic scene to me. Like, I don't know if you would talk about scenes, but it's like, that scene was really violent when he was getting shot up and he's like...
I mean, it doesn't show any blood, but it's still very
scary.
intense.
Like, when you watch as a kid,
I remember even as a kid, thinking it was very intense. And speaking of, like, intensive scenes, the part where everyone goes to sleep, like, it's right after Kevin goes up to the attic, and it shows, like, the wind and everything, like, the treacherous weather.
Yes,
and it shows, like, that Christmas wreath on the front door, like, and it's like...
Yes.
Yeah, it's like I just remember like as a kid I always got creeped out.
When it zooms out, no, I felt the same way rewatching it recently.
It kind of like gives it more of like a more suspenseful like horror vibe or like a thriller.
Well, and speaking of that, like if you remix this movie or like even just a trailer as Kevin being a little like shit like killer, you could totally make this a horror movie.
Oh, absolutely.
If you take away the comedy a little bit, like. There's some crazy stuff that happens, and this little kid does. He's like a little, what's that called? Like, serial killer. He's like, ugh. He's like planning to kill his whole family.
Oh my god, yeah.
Anyways, but
moving on to another character that I want to talk about. Kevin's older brother. I guess he's like the oldest. Buzz.
Yes.
Let me say this about Buzz. I didn't notice this till I recently watched it. One, he's a total sociopath.
He totally is.
And he looks like a fucking Big Mac that farted.
He totally does! Oh my god. That is so fucking funny.
But yeah, just the part where Kevin goes in his room and he's like, can I sleep in your room? And he's like, I wouldn't let you sleep in my room if you're growing on my ass! First of all, Buzz has butt burgers. Like, he says ass, like, he accentuates it very well.
Gay.
And then when it goes to the scene where they're, like, in Paris, and he's like, and this time he cut in the butt. It's like, okay, Buzz, it's okay to be gay.
No, he's, like, literally the worst. And, like, when the whole reason why this tragedy happened, when they were fighting down in the kitchen, like, giving him a noogie, and, like, Kevin comes and pushes him, they spill the soda or whatever, milk everywhere. I'm like, this is all Buzz's fault. And everyone blames Kevin. Buzz is, like, such the... and then the fact that he owns a tarantula, I always freaking hated that. It's so creepy. I don't know, it just fits his personality.
I think my favorite character in the movie is actually the tarantula. I think that tarantula was probably born Year of the Dragon. He's pretty chill.
So funny. I mean, literally, he doesn't he's just hanging out. Doesn't do anything. Doesn't hurt anybody. He's just there.
He's just chilling.
But it's still creepy.
It's just funny because the part where Kevin gets in that scuffle with Buzz, like it goes to John Hurt's character, the dad, trying to clean up the mess or whatever, spilling the soda. I didn't notice this until I recently watched it. Like, he throws, like, a passport or, like, a boarding pass away, and it's Kevin's.
Yeah, a lot of people... I didn't realize that.
So that's, like, a total plot hole right there. So if, like, they would have gone to the airport, if, like, they didn't miscount, if Kevin would have gone, he wouldn't have been able to board, so they would have, like, all had to, like, I don't know, reschedule the flight or something.
Right. No,
so what are your, what's, like, one of your favorite scenes, or, like, some of your favorite scenes in this movie?
I think probably my favorite one is obviously when Kevin goes to the church after kind of feeling, like, really alone and sad.
I like that.
It's such an emotional scene, and then, like, this whole time he thought of the neighbor, which I can't think of his name right now, the old man neighbor.
Old Man Marley.
Old Man Marley is this horrible, creepy killer guy, and then it's just a big misunderstanding. Like, that was really sad. Like, I really appreciated that old man, even though he could have spoke out earlier. And
well, I think Old Man Marley, he was probably just, he might have been a Vicodin as well. He was probably buying it from Kevin's parents.
He probably was. So that's why he kept looking at the house.
So when he would see Kevin, he was probably just like, oh, I want to talk to him, but too euphoric, not saying anything. So funny.
I mean, I really like that scene because it's just so emotional, and the music. I think that's when we start getting, like, more of, like, the emotional music.
To the redemption side.
Yes,
like, exactly. The more, like, heartfelt part of the film. Yeah. Where Kevin's starting to, like, really realize certain things, or, like, realizing what a little jerk he's been.
And then my other favorite one is when you realize that the mom, Catherine O'Hara, is being closer, and Kevin wakes up and he looks for her, and she comes around the corner with his back turned, and, like, they look at each other, and he's kind of upset with her and angry, and she kind of, like, smiles like, sorry, and then he smiles and runs towards her. I'm like, oh, that's so cute.
I know, I love how they have, it is nice that they have that moment together, like, before, which is funny that the whole family shows up, like, 30 seconds later.
Right, the whole time she struggled, she had to deal with John Candy and the whole polka scene to get there, but they got there 30 seconds later.
But I think it was good that she got there at least, just to, like, share that special moment.
I agree. I think that's, like, one of the things I think they were on its own. But what about you? What's one of your favorite scenes or most memory scene?
Well, I was definitely going to say the church. I do love that scene. I love the music, and I just love how, like, heartfelt it is, and I think it is great. I think it's just interesting how, like, Kevin is able to have such, like, a genuine conversation with someone, like, who's like not even middle-aged, like a senior citizen.
He really understood, like you said, like, it kind of comes to his maturity as a real actor to his actual character.
Right, yeah, and I just love the analogy that he uses, like, he's like, I had these rollerblades, and, like, like, before I knew it, I grew out of them, and I like how the old guy's like, what's your point? He's like, if you should call your son, even if you're afraid. He's like, at least you'll know. So it's like he makes such a good point. He's got so much, like, wisdom for a 9-year-old.
He does, like, that closure. Yeah, it's really interesting.
Aside from that, I really love the scenes where, honestly, I mean, like, it's gonna sound cliche, where he's, like, first realizes he's home alone, or, like, when he's home alone.
Yes, that's so
like, especially, particularly when he wakes up and he goes into the kitchen. Which, by the way,
oh my god,
let me nitpick this. The kitchen is spotless.
It's so
I mean, they all wake up late.
You're right.
Like, what did they just hire a maid that just came out of the basement and, like, cleaned everything? Like,
no, you're right. Everything was spotless. You think it would have been trash with all those people there?
Yeah, I just can't get over how clean everything is in the house. They have to have a maid or something.
They must have somebody that came through.
But anyways, getting back to that scene of Kevin just, like, when he first gets up and turns that TV on and it's like a black and white movie.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it until recently that it's a Miracle on 34th Street.
Okay, that's so cool. I see what you did there.
Yeah. But I don't know, I just like that because it's like, it almost seems like he seems like disoriented, almost like he's hungover. And it's like,
his hair's all...
what am I going to order on DoorDash today?
That's so funny. It's so true.
So that one sticks out to me. I like when he's, like, grocery shopping for some reason. I think that's kind of fun to watch. I don't know why
I like that one too. I really do like that one a lot. Like, what he chooses to buy.
I think it's like, I just love how soothing a lot of the scenes are, where it's like he's not talking and he's just kind of like, it's just interesting to see him do things that like almost like I said, like a 30-year-old would be doing, like running errands.
Right, going to the pharmacy and getting a toothbrush.
And you know what's funny about that scene? First of all, like, the movie was shot out of sequence. I mean, a lot of movies are shot out of sequence, but that was the first scene filmed for the movie, was him getting the toothbrush, and he had the flu.
Oh no, I didn't know.
And I guess, like, watching it, because I watched it again this morning just to kind of, like, brush up before talking about it. And yeah, it's true what I read in the trivia about, like, him being a little bit more pale, and, like, you can kind of tell.
Oh wow, I'll have to look at that again.
Yeah.
Oh, poor kid, that sucks. He's probably what I get myself into. That's funny.
I would say for flamethrowing outfit category, I'm going to go with Kevin. You know, he's got a flannel, a blue flannel. Yeah. He's got black jeans. He knows what's up.
And it's like at one point.
And his beanie.
His beanie.
His fucking beanie. I'm surprised
so cool.
The house did not catch on fire. It's so awesome. It's flamethrowing so hard. Oh, Dick Van Dyke Show.
For me, because I guess I'm a little biased, I like Catherine O'Hara's outfits the most because she has like that oversized brown jacket. She's wearing like pantsuits. She just dresses her nice, her big earrings, her hair. To me, it's just like this whole vibe of the 90s. I'm just like, I love that. I don't know, it's just something classy. And I also like his aunt, who's the chubbier one. I think it's Leslie.
Oh,
the big glasses. Yeah. When she's in the airplane with her hair, and she's wearing this like button-up blouse and this like skirt. I'm like, that's such a cute outfit. But yeah, definitely Kevin too. I mean, with his shirt and like his Christmas look, and
definitely his beanie.
His beanie for sure.
Now it's time that we have to talk about the Wet Bandits, Harry and Marv.
Yes.
So here's what's interesting about their characters is both Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern had they thought to themselves like, this movie is going to be a flop. This is gonna have no success, so that's why they purposely went over the top with their performances.
That's so wild to think that in this thing now. Isn't that's funny?
And I guess
so comedic now. It's like you said, over top. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, their chemistry is phenomenal.
Yes. Oh my gosh, so
I love
perfect.
Their chemistry.
That casting was so perfect. I think I've heard there was different casting that was supposed to be done.
I remember
out so well.
Yeah, and I remember everyone that I read.
Danny DeVito.
Yeah, Danny DeVito. And then Robert De Niro. Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci were perfect. Like, they couldn't have been anyone else.
It's so perfect. It literally is it's almost like Pinky in the Brain, but they look like this. You have a smart and one little or dumber and.
Well, that's the thing. It's like Harry generally seems like he's the smarter one, but then there's a part where Marv makes that good point. He's like, "You want to come back here tonight, even with the kid here?" He's like, "I think that's such a good idea, Harry."
That's a good point. Yeah, no, it's true. It's like literally just move on from the house, count your losses. But
I think persistent. It's funny too. I love that's pretty brilliant. Their disguise, that they're plumbers with the OK plumbing company.
And the Wet Bandits.
Yeah.
I did hate that they flooded. That's.
Oh, I know. Yeah, when Joe Pesci's like, dude, I told you not to do it.
Oh my God, that's so that's worse than because you just replace everything. But if your house is flooded, that's so much more damage.
Well, it's like the cops is at the end too when he's like, now we know each and every house you guys have hit.
That's true. That kind of just dug their grave a little more.
I just think it's funny when Joe Pesci's like, you did it again, didn't you? You left the water on.
You left the water on.
It's our calling card. You're sick. You know that? You're really sick.
That's so true. That's so great. So what do you think is the worst trap? What do you think would be the most painful one, or the one that stuck to you the most?
Oh my gosh. The blowtorch.
That has got to be the most painful.
Yeah.
Anything burning? He got burned a lot.
Which is funny because director Chris Columbus didn't like the fan with the feathers because he thought it just wasn't harsh enough. What they deserved. I almost feel
like chicken. It's just how it is. It's a child thing that would happen, I guess. The feathers. Being tarred kind of.
But God, Kevin, he's kind of a sociopath too.
Right, he created all that stuff.
It's instead of calling the cops, going to some neighbor's house to call the cops, he's like, I'm just going to torture these guys so I can fulfill my whatever fucking psychotic needs.
I remember but yeah, no, it's I heard too, I think I read a fact that Macaulay Culkin actually did put together a lot of those traps. He was probably told what to do, but he helped put them together, I guess is what I was told.
Well, Chris Columbus was really into a lot of engineering type of stuff.
Cool.
And I guess he was also involved with the engineering behind some of the contraptions on the Goonies, for example.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Where... But it's the part in the Goonies where Chunk does the truffle shuffle and they do the whole gate mechanic.
Okay.
I can't remember which other movies, but I gotta mention too, Chris Columbus, he has directed. He's been involved with so many other iconic films. I mean, Mrs. Doubtfire from 1993. Right. That was a big one. I didn't realize that he directed Bicentennial Man.
Oh, I didn't know that either. Well, then of course he's all involved with.
Yeah, then he was. I was gonna say he was involved heavily with the creation, or he was involved heavily behind the creation of Harry Potter franchise. Which I still haven't seen those films. I mean, I'd probably rather put a gun in my mouth.
Those movies don't really appeal to you, probably.
No.
That's so funny. But going back to the traps, I think the worst one that got me obviously is when Marv steps into the window.
Nail?
The nail is pretty iconic to people, but when he steps on the ornaments, which I heard is all candy and his screams are fake, but still I'm holy crap! He already had his a nail in his foot. Now he's going through this. It's just crazy. But like, yeah, the blowtorch one had to hurt the worst. Like, that's crazy.
Well, it's just funny too, because the part where Marv says, "Harry, why the hell did you dress like a chicken?"
Exactly.
That was improvised.
Yeah. Oh, okay, that's so funny. Yeah. That's so, I didn't know that.
And that's what's good about John Hughes. He's always willing to let people like throw out of improvisation. Like apparently John Candy.
I read that just recently. I was like, that all his lines were improv and like
completely improv. And he was just
whatever he did.
He came in for one day and he ended up doing a 23-hour shoot.
Wow, that's wild. That's so cool. I mean,
yeah. I know we're kind of jumping all over the place, but Uncle Frank. What do you think of Uncle Frank?
Oh God, he's a big asshole.
He's creepy.
He is so creepy and horrible.
And he's a fucking klepto. He's like trying to steal those crystals on the plane.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Or wait, maybe that's on
crystals?
Part 2. Yeah, when he's like, put him in your purse. Put him in your purse.
Well, then he like gets into the he gets into the shrimp cocktail and they're like, it's for later. No, fuck you, I just want to eat this.
Oh yeah, it's like, Frank, those are for later. Yeah, and that's funny because I was gonna bring that up too, because like it shows that It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh yeah, when they're watching that in France.
Yeah, in French.
That's so funny. Yeah, he's an asshole. Like he just like the things he says to Kevin and everyone is just. Oh, he won't pay for the fucking pizza either.
Oh yeah.
He's like, all I have is cashier.
Someone must be $122.50.
Yeah,
it's my brother's house. He'll take care of it.
Like,
which, by the way, the pizza delivery guy, he looks just like the bass player from Blur. I mean, I'm gonna add a picture in post-production, but
I want to see that.
You know, I'll do a side-by-side comparison.
I think we forgot to talk about it. Every time I like watch this movie, I always want cheese pizza because of Kevin.
Oh my gosh,
and Pepsi.
This movie kind of has the similar effect of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where it's like anytime you watch it, it makes you want to eat pizza. Scene.
Well, I love that one part too. It was actually kind of sad after he went grocery shopping. He's like, he buys that like microwavable Kraft mac and cheese or whatever.
And
mac and cheese.
He
doesn't fucking eat it.
And it looks so good.
A glass of milk and his candles, and they show up, and
he's in the zone.
He was ready to munch down that.
Yeah, he was getting ready to go into like a food euphoria.
Yeah, carb overload. Poor kid. It's so funny. And then he asked the cashier, "Is this stuff any good?" And that was cute.
Oh yeah, I think we should discuss some of the theories behind this movie, which I think all of them are pretty fucking ridiculous. Like, there's the one about Peter McAllister being involved with the mob. I mean...
Okay, what?
I mean, it sounds somewhat plausible, I guess. Yeah. I mean, like, they're super rich, but honestly, I think he's just a successful businessman that's in investment banking.
Right, yeah, exactly. And she does stuff with fashion. I mean, if she happens to get in that right clique, she can make a lot of money on that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much that house would be worth in Chicago in the 90s, but now I know it's like $12 million or something.
X amount of years ago, maybe like 10 years ago for like...
Million.
It was like 2.1 million.
Millions of
dollars. So not as much as I thought it would be.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But no, it's true. It's like, well, that's something I was going to talk about too. If you listen in the scene, there's a little part where Catherine O'Hara makes a comment to Joe Pesci when he's standing like, oh, you guys are going to Paris. And she talks about her brother-in-law is in Paris, and he's paying for the trip for them all to go back to Paris to bring the kids and stuff. And it's not so much Kevin's dad.
Right. Yeah.
And there's a comment with one of his cousins, Kevin's cousin, one of the girls. She's like, oh, I'm not from here. My family lives in Paris. I was like, I always thought it was Kevin's dad that paid for all this. It was really, I guess, like the uncle or the brother-in-law or whoever it was.
Uncle Rob.
We never see him.
Yeah. You see him one time.
Do you see him?
Yeah, you see him the part where Uncle Frank has the shrimp. Like,
you do see him
in the background by the Christmas tree.
Oh, because that'd be at their house. Okay, interesting.
But there was like, watching the DVD, they have the deleted scenes, and there's like one where it shows like the aunt and uncle waiting for them at the airport. So it's just weird.
I did hear something about that. I was like, welcome. Okay, so another theory that I also heard was something to do with Uncle Frank, wasn't it?
Right, yeah, that Uncle Frank hired Marvin Harry, and that he was also involved with the mafia, and that he wanted Kevin to be killed.
That's fucked
up. I mean, but
I can see him. He's an asshole.
I mean, he's definitely an asshole, but like...
To kill a kid.
I just think that's a little out of reach.
That's a little out of reach for sure.
And then there's another one where it's like, Old Man Marley is Kevin in the future. I just don't... I mean, actually, I guess kind of...
I kind of like that one.
That one seems to be the most
there'd be a big paradox because he ends up coming and helping Kevin at one point, get him off the hook, but he couldn't exist in the same plane, really, and they couldn't see each other, but it was like a whole Rick and Morty thing.
I know.
But that is an interesting thing. That is interesting. Like Kevin's all alone in this house, and in the future he's all alone in life. Like, ooh, that's dark.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, like he's like estranged from his son.
That'd be weird.
But I don't know. Those are just some of the theories that I wanted to address. Oh yeah, so a lot of people don't know this. Like, I was surprised to find this out. Chris Farley auditioned for the role of Santa Claus. Like,
how
Santa
funny!
Claus towards the end.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
I don't know how he didn't get it. I
honestly could see.
I guess it was pre-SNL for him. So.
I mean, that scene is so small. I don't even know who plays the guy that plays Santa. He's like
I guess he was on. I think apparently, from what I remember, he was on Groundhog's Day.
Oh really?
But I haven't seen.
He looks like a pedophile to me, but
yeah, he does look like a fucking pedophile.
I heard though too when he tried to leave with his little Honda, it did actually stall.
That was interesting. But I think Chris Farley could have nailed that role.
Oh, he totally
even though
could've.
It's so brief.
Yeah, it's
you just know he would have like done everything he could to
like
make that like one little scene even better, more hilarious. Oh yeah, so I was really surprised to find out about this piece of trivia, and it doesn't surprise me just because like I talked about earlier, the like Santa Claus wreath close up in the beginning. That's freaky. So Chris Columbus originally storyboarded a few scenes in which Kevin had nightmares about the house coming to life.
Weird.
And then one of those included like the evil furnace in the basement.
Okay.
Which comes to life and chases him down the stairs.
Ew.
And then like another one where like a lot of like toy nutcrackers come to life.
Oh, how bizarre.
Along with the house. But like I guess like apparently what made him not do those scenes is like it was too expensive to shoot.
Oh wow, okay.
But like man, that would have given this film a whole different twist.
It was like did Kevin get into like the drugs or something like?
Right, yeah, no.
That doesn't make sense.
That would have been odd. Like, it would have been cool, but it would have been like, wow, this would have been like a little.
They would have had to make that kind of like a fever dream or something for him.
Yeah.
Because like the furnace part was creepy. Like that was scary, but he ends up like kind of facing it. It's just a furnace, so. It reminds me of that Brave Little Toaster movie with the air conditioner that came to life.
Oh, yeah.
That was scary.
I haven't seen that in a long time, but.
Anyways, yeah, it is interesting the house come to life. That's bizarre. That's a whole nother movie.
Another piece of trivia that I found interesting is that the cinematographer was heavily inspired by A Christmas Story with its use of something called it was called carbon arc lighting, which makes sense because I feel like everything in this film has such a unique like ethereal glow to it.
I can see that. Yeah.
Like anytime it shows Kevin inside the house or like even outside the house.
Right.
Really.
Yeah, there was definitely.
Which makes sense because, like, even with A Christmas Story, there is a certain type of like lighting, like glow to it.
Yeah, that's interesting. Huh,
so that makes sense. Yeah, I guess like arc lighting, they don't use that anymore because it's like it would only work for like 20 minutes at a time.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Something.
Huh.
Oh yeah, then like I thought this was kind of funny. Like the Little Neros was supposed to be like a parody of Little Caesars.
Yes, that's awesome.
Yeah, I guess the whole thing was like the whole slogan like no fiddling around is because like Nero would reportedly like play the fiddle as Rome was burning.
Oh,
so that's why they have the whole
interesting.
Yeah. That's like dark.
That is dark to put that in there. Yeah.
And then I thought this was interesting. The role of Uncle Frank was originally written for Kelsey Grammer, who's very well known for the TV show Frasier.
Oh, interesting.
And of course, he was also on Cheers.
Was there any other talk about a different, not having Macaulay Culkin? I don't remember.
They had like several hundred like boys audition.
Yeah.
But like I guess John Hughes like originally intended on not having Macaulay Culkin because he had already had him on Uncle Buck, and Uncle Buck was actually the origin of inspiration to Home Alone to be created because it started with the scene where the babysitter shows up and Macaulay Culkin like peeks through like the mail slot thing. So that's like what gave him the idea. Which makes sense because I remember, the first time I ever saw Uncle Buck, I was like, this kind of reminds me of Home Alone because it came out a year before.
That's so wild. Okay, that's so great.
Yeah, great film if you haven't seen Uncle Buck. I recommend that.
Yeah, that's a good one to watch. Oh man.
Well, I guess before we wrap up, who was your least favorite character in this film?
I mean, Buzz is probably my least favorite.
Yeah, sure. Buzz and Uncle Frank should have been fucking
those two are like the worst. I mean, really, a lot of his family were just shitholes and horrible.
I liked Kevin's parents quite a bit. I like them. They're pretty cool. Yeah. I think they need to slap him in the face, but they just needed to discipline. They were too like nice.
I think they were just over it. Yeah.
I mean, I guess they have a lot of kids. So.
I mean, I always thought it was just Buzz, but really he has 4 other siblings?
Yeah, I mean, there's like Lenny and Jeff, I can't even remember all the names. You can't remember
really who they are. It's just kind of, because they all kind of mold together in the beginning.
Right,
but those are probably mine. What about yours?
But I would say, I think Buzz is a piece of shit. I feel like he would. Buzz is the type of person that would
ice.
like drink a bunch of natty ice at a frat party and like rape someone. Probably not even a human. He would end up like trying to fuck a dog or something while like slamming a Coors Light and playing beer pong.
We're watching.
But yeah, until next time, hit the like and subscribe button. And next month, I'm going to be putting out a couple of gameplay videos. I'm thinking about doing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, the remaster for the PlayStation 4. I also might be doing a gameplay video of a Samurai Showdown, which is, in my opinion, is a very underrated fighting game. Samurai Showdown, the arcade version. So those will be a couple of videos to look forward to.
That's awesome.
And then as far as films, Jessica and I are planning on doing, I remember we talked about doing the Wayne's World 30 year
anniversary. We should probably do that.
That'll be out in February, so that'll be a couple months from now. We should do that.
I haven't seen that all the way.
But January is probably mainly going to be gameplay videos, but we'll see. Maybe we'll throw a movie review in there.
We're getting through the holidays already.
Yeah.
All right.
Till next time, rocking around the Xmas tree.